Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and all the things with tentacles. My name is the Shiv, and I'm here today to talk to you about our Lord and Master, Saron. Alright, so a little bit of history here. So when they started revealing the coolness that is the old gods, and I do mean the 4 old gods, not the actual set, a lot of us, like all my friends, people I play with, work with, and consult with, we started talking about, like, oh yeah, I want to use this card and this, and oh man, this would be great in this kind of build, and blah, 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 blah. And then we get to Saron. Everybody's like, oh yeah, mage, definitely mage. Oh my god, mage. Hey, Shiv, you think this is a good mage card? Oh yeah, it's going to be great in mage. Yeah. I'm going to put it in a hunter, though. I'm not even kidding when I say you could hear the sound of a pin drop. Alright? Even the crickets were going, no, go home, Shiv, you're drunk. But I did it. Alright? I did it anyway, because, I'm that kind of batshit crazy, and I like, innovating decks. I like, coming up with new shit, making something that people generally haven't seen overly too well. And right now, with the meta in this weird state of flux, you can get some really fun wins with this deck. I'm not even going to lie. But the deck is a lot of fun. It takes certain aspects of the Death Trap Hunter, which has very much, a weird sort of tempo control aspect to it, and then applies the fact that it uses a bunch of spells to do what it does with Saron to get that extra value at the back end. Now, normally that deck came with, like, I believe it was like Alex Straz's and Ragnaros to kind of fill in those back end things, but here, we did without them because we really just didn't need it, and we took a couple other choices that we felt were very impactful and would help in the longevity of this deck and its survivability. Alright? So, without further ado, let's talk about the No Lube Saron deck. Yes, I know. Alright, so the reason why this deck is called No Lube Saron is, well, it's got Saron, and anybody who's ever played Saron knows that it has this propensity of fucking you in the ass. I don't mean like, gently. I mean just like, you silly mortal. He will kill himself more times than I can even count. He will pyroblast you in the face. He will heal your opponent. He will... Yeah, guys, I mean... I had him Divine Favor freaking Cthulhu once, which that was hysterical. It actually lowered Cthulhu's attack, which would have been hysterically funny. So yeah, definitely Saron can be one of those double-edged swords that tends to always stab you before it ever hits your opponent. True facts. And it is one of the only cards in the game that will lead to some draw scenarios. Yes, I know Hellfire can also do the same thing as well, alright? So can Ysera Awakening, alright? But definitely, it's a fun card. Now, this deck, I'm going to preface this right now because I know somebody's going to take this deck sucks on ladder. Well, no shit, motherfucker. This is a fun deck, alright? This is literally designed for fun. Fun, that thing that we originally started playing video games for? Alright, here you go. I like to have fun when I play my games, alright? I don't want to take everything so damn seriously. That's how I turned this shade of gray. Alright, I want to enjoy the game and enjoy my time in it. And in all honesty, the old gods has been a wonderful breath of fresh air into Hearthstone. And I'm going to fully exploit the shit out of it. Alright? So, let's talk about the deck, why some of these cards are here, how they're used, synergized, this, that, and the other. And at the end of all that, we're going to watch some playthrough footage, and I'm going to, do the little commentary as we go. Alright, so first up, we have the Arcane Shot. Okay, so Arcane Shot, this actually works on so many levels, guys, so many levels. It's a great removal tool. It can be used as a primer for, say, lock and load, or adding a little bit more lethality to, say, Wild Pyromancer. I get so much value out of this. I mean, it synergizes with a lot of cards in this deck very well, and come on, it's awesome. This is what hunters do. They have shots. Alright, so Hunter's Mark, yes, I know it got nerfed. It's now 1 mana, but that does not take away the functionality of the card. It's still quite functional, especially with Wild Pyromancer, alright? And because it's cheap costed, it has great synergies with Lock and Load. Let's never forget that. Tracking! Okay, so I'm not a huge fan of tracking in general. I think that most decks that run it generally run the risk of throwing away a needed item in lieu of taking an item that you really need right at that point in order to stay in the game. But losing like an endgame scenario type deal is always that possibility, and it really, really hurts. So, general rule of thumb for this deck, if you use tracking and you pull Yogg-Saron, you keep Yogg-Saron. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Alright, if you throw away Yogg-Saron, likelihood that you're going to win, it's not impossible. Matter of fact, this deck can win without Yogg-Saron quite nicely, many a times over. But it helps. It really does help. I'm not going to lie. It really does help. So yeah, you always want to keep your Yogg-Saron. And also, I love using this combination with lock and load. That way I could pull more answers to get another lock and load draw off that, and maybe get another answer that's going to lead to another answer, and you know, it's basically the whole inception thing going on right there, and I love that. It's so good. All right, so Bear Trap. Now, if you haven't noticed, we don't really have many minions in this deck. Matter of fact, the closest you get to minions are going to be Wild Pyromancer, which obviously playing this on curve is not always going to be in your best interest, and or Animal Companions. So that's turn 3. So yeah, you kind of need a little something that's going to slow down your opponents. Now you have a couple options with this. Obviously, Explosive Trap is another one that works really good, but Bear Trap for me is always the auto go-to pick. It's a beast. And it kind of throws your opponents off a little bit. It's like, oh, Bear Trap, beast, yeah, it's a hunter, so I need to expect this. And so they start playing on a very unique mindset to dealing with this. Rather than dealing with what's on the board, they're trying to prevent value later on. So they're thinking kill commands, they're thinking Houndmasters and things of that nature. So they want to try to prevent this. And, you know, hey, it's a taunt, so that's always a good thing too. The fact that it also synergizes with the Eagle Horn Bow, awesome. The fact that you could use it with lock and load, awesome. And in a pinch, you could use it with, say, Wild Pyromancer just to clear off a bunch of little 1/1 tentacles that were spawned from, you know, that stupid forbidden spell from Warlocks. Yeah, true fact. So, definitely worthwhile. Alright, Flare. Now, this is one I know people are going to have a disagreement with. It's like, oh, God, Flare's such a horrible card. The tempo loss. Okay, guys, seriously. Fun deck. Alright, but we had to have some functionalities in there. And truth be told, I kept running into a lot of mages. And you know what? Guess what? Mages are still using secrets. I ran up against a lot of hunters. Hunters definitely are still using secrets. And the occasional paladin that was still using secrets. Not to mention Yogg-Saron is everywhere. And you'd be surprised how often your opponents get like a nice little, you know, plethora of secrets from multiple different classes going up at the same time. So yeah, Flare made a lot of sense. Not to mention the fact that rogues now have the ability of stealing class cards, and, you know, priests have been able to do that forever and a day. And we do run secrets, so yeah, being able to counter what they're just stealing from you kind of makes a lot of sense, alright? Kind of makes a lot of sense. Freezing Trap, because, you know, screwing over tempo, really, really cool thing. The only downside I'm going to say to Freezing Trap is this, because Cthulhu decks are out there, it's one of those things like you never want to throw back something that's buffing Cthulhu. Oh my god, that hurts so badly. You never want that to happen. Like, I don't really mind it throwing back like the Twilight Elder, but anything else, not really. And it synergizes with Eaglehorn Bow. Alright, Lock and Load. So this is that unique little aspect to the deck of the combo synergy that you can get some really cool value out of. But let's not lie to each other, alright? There are times where this is going to whiff repeatedly. Oh my god, will this whiff repeatedly. Much in the same way Ram Wrangler can still draw Captain's Parrot because of the slight little extension they provided to it so people could get it. You can get some really bad RNG off this. And other times you can get some really good RNG, alright? But it is a card you have to invest in to get more value. So this is not something you really ever want to play on curve or really in the early game unless you absolutely have to. This is more like a turn 6 and on play if you don't have high main. But at that point you're also sacrificing some of your hand advantage, but you're recouping it back at the same time. So it does kind of work. All in all, I like this card. It does lead to being able to grow the amount of spells you have available, thus more options available, and thus more ways of dealing with the board, as well as your opponent's face. Alright, Quick Shot, great removal tool. You're almost never going to get the value on the second half of it, so don't even try. You're going to basically cry rivers and go, it's not fair. Yeah, just don't do it. Alright, but great tool, especially in the beginning. Deals with Northshire Clerics really nicely, Beckoners of Evil very nicely, the occasional Knife Jugglers, it kills out the Voidwalker. You know, there's a lot of really good things you can kill in the early part of the game, so this definitely has a lot of value. And you can use it in conjunction with Lock and Load, you can use it in conjunction with Wild Pyromancer. Pretty much every spell can be used in conjunction with those two, alright? So you got a lot of flexibility in your synergies. Alright, Wild Pyromancer, we're running Hunter's Mark, and we got a lot of spells. This seemed like a no-brainer. Also, Zoo decks are starting to really pick up in popularity again, thanks to that Darkshire Councilman and the Forbidden spell that they got. So yeah, being able to wipe that shit right off the board, hell yeah. If you see your opponent play out the Councilman and then put a whole bunch of tentacles, there's nothing more satisfying than playing out a Wild Pyromancer and then Hunter's Marking the Councilman and watching that entire board just disappear. Nothing more satisfying than that, guys. I'm not gonna lie. Very, very satisfying. I love this card. Alright. Next up, we've got the Eaglehorn Bow. We have secrets. You can use this to temper the board, you know, remove their board states, all that. But again, you have to be very, very careful with that. Remember, Cthulhu does exist, and we have no healing in this deck. While we do get access to some taunts, they're not always consistent, and that's not always going to save your ass, alright? Once you get up to that turn 10 point, depending on how high that Cthulhu is, you're in a really dangerous spot. So most of the time, you're going to want to use this to go to face, alright? Not gonna lie, mostly go to face or kill things that have 0 attack, which there's not many of those out there, but they do exist. Another little interesting side note with this, if you get this up and you have secrets in play, you'd be surprised how quickly your opponents are just going to stop attacking you. They don't want to continuously give you that value to where you can just boom, 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 boom. So in its own weird way, this serves multiple functions. I'm not going to lie, it serves so many functions in that, and it's a lot of fun. And surprisingly enough, people are not taking weapon removal right now. That might change. That might change. Alright. Next up we've got is Animal Companion. Okay, so Animal Companion, I love this card. Alright. Huffer always applies pressure to the face. Leok, great little synergies if you've already got a board state. And of course, you know, Misha, probably the best one for this deck design. Let's be honest. It really is. The defensive options are always good. But still, everything in this definitely can have advantages. You just have to look for them, and you have to think about it. You know, sometimes you got to think multiple turns ahead. But definitely, I love Animal Companion, and it's a spell, so it plays to our agenda of getting value to Yogg-Saron. All right, so Power Shot. I've actually really been falling in love with this card. When I first saw it, I thought it was actually quite an amazing card. It was everything I really wanted. You look at multi-shot, and yeah, that seems like a cool idea, but no, not really. This I could use even if it's only one minion, so I mean, at least I got that flexibility there. But when I combine it with things such as like Wild Pyromancer or with Azure Drake, I get even more value out of it. Oh, by the way, just word of warning, don't ever do Wild Pyromancer plus Power Shot. That against like Grim Patron decks, you're no, bad. But if you got Azure Drake, hell fuck yeah. Alright, hell fuck yeah. Alright, Unleash the Hounds. This is pretty much my standard go-to for dealing with aggro spam boards. It's really great for reducing those out in the early games. Like Zoo. Not to mention the fact that you'd be surprised how often you're going to get an Iron Beak, or not an Iron Beak, a Starving Buzzard from Lock and Load. It's surprising how often that actually happens. Alright? So because of that, I still think that Unleash the Hounds gets like some really interesting value later on. You know, if your opponents have a board and you're at turn 8, boom, get the card draw, pull into possibly Yogg-Saron, and possibly win the game. So yeah, very, really good synergies there on possibilities. Other than that, you're going to use this to basically remove board or possibly just constantly apply pressure to the face. Remember, that's Beast. And when it comes to hunters, beasts can be a scary thing, and that's what people think. So they're going, oh no, kill commands, oh no this, oh no this, oh no this. So yeah, they'll definitely work very hard to take this out. But 9 times out of 10, you want to use this to remove shit, alright? And it works well with Hunter's Mark, alright? Azure Drake, card draw, solid body, and spell damage. Yes, please. Yes, please. Alright, seriously, this card is amazing in this deck. High mains. I love high mains. Turn 6, dropping a high main is probably one of the biggest plays you could do as a hunter. If you've been able to keep their board relatively clean, a high main represents a huge amount of threat, or potential threat. Because they don't really know what this design is, because this is a newer design. Nobody's really played around with it, because nobody's this batshit crazy. So they might be thinking, oh, he's going to have that new hunter legendary. Oh, he's going to be using a Houndmaster. Oh, he's going to, you know, there's a lot of scenarios where this gets really, really scary. So you're going to see them play pretty damn badly in order to remove the value on this. Or they're just going to play Sylvanas and then go, okay, well, I'm taking one of your 2/2, so have a nice day. So at least I can tempo that off the board, so I've denied the value. But if they don't have Sylvanas, hey, guess what? This guy is just great. Just great, guys. I'm not going to lie. He is just an amazing card. And he's damn near a taunt on his own. People will trade to remove the value of this card, unless they've got bigger taunts out there. And even then, through some really crafty gameplay, you could still remove those bigger taunts. I love high mains. Alright, next up we have Call of the Wild. I wish I had one more slot open in my deck that I could justify to put a second Call of the Wild. I cannot tell you how awesome this card has been. The amount of recovery I get off this one card alone is phenomenal. If I've got a board state and I use Call of the Wild, oh yeah, I am definitely going to be removing anything you have off the board quite nicely. Oh, you have Vector? Psh, get the fuck out. Alright, I love Call of the Wild. It's a great tempoing tool. It's a great defensive tool. It's a great all-around tool. And, you know, it does buy us enough time to possibly get to turn 10 and play out our Lord and Savior, Yogg-Saron. Hope send. In all honesty, this should be called Yogg-Saron in your end. Because that's exactly where 9 times out of 10 he's going to be, is right up your bum. Alright? And I know that's a little crass, and I know that's a little crude, but trust me, play around with him a bit. You'll understand exactly why I've come to that statement. Well, Shiv, if you don't like him that much, or he treats you that badly, why are you using him? Because he's fun at the same time. It's a weird sort of relationship, alright? Don't judge me. Alright, so definitely this is like the pinnacle of the deck design. Simple logistics here. We have a lot of stuff that's going to easily get him to have an extreme amount of value. In general, around 10 to 15, depending on what turn he comes down. And that's good, guys. That is really, really good. Really good. Ideally, you're going to want to try to shred your decks using trackings, flares, Azure Drakes to get him out or into your deck as soon as feasibly possible. Once this is in your hand, like around, say, like turn 7, turn 8, turn 9, that pretty much is going to relieve a lot of tension of getting to that point. So now you can actually focus on maximizing his value. But don't play stupidly, alright? Don't play stupidly. But use those spells, alright? You don't need to really, you know, save them overly that much other than to remove threats off the board. But use them, alright? Use them. I can't express that enough. Use them. Get as much value as you possibly can. Because there's going to be certain situations where, you know, that next spell that you play might lead to you beating your opponent when you play Yogg-Saron. Not even gonna lie. And then there's other times where you're just going to evolve Yogg-Saron at the very end and he's still just going to be Yogg-Saron. Yeah, that always feels good, let me tell you. Alright, so that's the deck. And let's see this in action. Alright, here we go. Yes, the camera moved. Alright. So we're versus a Cthulhu Druid. I'm just going to spoiler alert this right now. Versus Cthulhu Druid. This has actually been a matchup that I've faced off quite a bit, so I kind of know where I need to be going for. My secret's not overly optimal in this point, but my quick shots and arcane shots definitely are. And wow, that Wild Pyromancer is going to be really important in this fight. So there's a couple cards you know you're almost always going to see from these builds right away. Beckoner of Evil, Twilight Elder. These are going to be the ones that are going to be kind of problematic. The Beckoner because it's a 2/3, not the easiest thing to deal with, and you really don't want to face trade with it, alright? You want to try to preserve your life in the early game as much as feasibly possible. Alright, so we're just going to get rid of that. And now here we are getting to 4 mana. Alright. This is normally when you see something else, but instead he goes with the Twilight Elder. We have the instant answer for it right now, and we're also going to build our board, because that makes sense to me. Now, the obvious play here is definitely just to use Hero Power and take that off the board. That would have been the smart play. That would have been the smartest of plays. Unfortunately, he did not pay attention. And he's going to get punished for it. And we get a Huffer. That's what I mean by punished. Huffer is always punishment. Now, at this point, you really got to go for removal, so Wrath is obvious choice here. Using a swipe would have been really painful, I'm just going to tell you right now. And following it up with the Wild Growth. Yes, you want to get your ramp out to get to your bigger minions. That makes a lot of sense. So, we're on turn 6. We're going to whip out that High Maiden with no fucks given. It's a great card. Unfortunately, Dark Arakoa says, I don't fucking think so. And we have obvious answers here, but we want to try to, you know, maximize. And we get Yogg Saron, and we got Leok here allowing us to do this nice little trade, play a secret, and go to the Hero Power, applying more pressure. We're just applying that pressure, using the Hero Powers, keeping our board state, which is surprising on a good day, let me tell you. You know, for a deck that generally doesn't have many minions, being able to keep your board state is surprisingly easy with it. Alright. Until, you know, swipe happens. But he physically took 2, or actually 3 more damage just to make that scenario happen. And we're going to punish it. We can't play the secret we just got for obvious reasons that we already have it in play. Now, Cenarius is a really not a fun scenario. Pun. But we get the Hunter's Mark off the top deck. Yeah, I am the king of luck top decks. I'm not even going to lie here. Boom. Bam. You know those games where somebody hits everything they needed to kick your ass? Yeah, that's me on a good day. But don't ever expect me to win a tournament, because the moment that happens, nope. Last game, you will fail every single time, guaranteed. Alright, so our Bear Trap is popped. We have something on the board we can contest with. Brings out a Beckoner of Evil. Brings up Cthulhu to 14. And goes with the Amber Weaver. He is saying, alright, I'm going to do something, and yeah, guess what? I'm going to get value out of it. So, that's a kind of scary scenario. So what we're going to do here is we're going to remove his board, because even at 14, I know he can't kill me. Alright? I know he can't kill me. The moment he attacks with the 4-1, I'm going to get another 3 life, in theory, back because of how Cthulhu works. Alright? So boom. Here it comes. I get to mitigate some of that right there. So Cthulhu is dealing 11 damage to my face. That is some pain, ladies and gentlemen. That is pain. And we go with Yogg Saron. There's 1 action. The Inner Fire actually reduced him. That's 2 actions. Consecration is 3 actions. Savagery is a whiff on 4 actions. Swipe actually hitting him. That's 5 actions. Deadly Shot, 6 actions. Savage Roar, 7 actions. Competitive Spirit, 8. Earthshock Whiff, 9. And Evolve, 10. Yeah, that Evolve at the end just made me want to cringe. And we get to boom. Now, he was in control. He thought he had it all, and then this happened. He's just sitting here going, wait, what? How the hell? You know he's kicking himself right now. He is kicking himself left and right. So he's going to go for the nourish. He's got to get a swipe or something. He's got to look for some sort of solution here. So he gets the bronze. And because this crafty devil held onto the coin, he can now do this. This is like a brilliant play. This kept him in the game. And I was like, wow, I'm impressed by that. I am impressed by it. Alright, so I need answers. We're going to go with the lock and load. We use the power shot. Bam. And I get the Brave Archer. This is like the only time I've ever gotten value off of Brave Archer. And at this point, you know he's sitting here going, wait, what? What the hell is going on here? Up is down, left is right. Hunters aren't supposed to do this. And you can just kind of feel the frustration there. So he's looking for an answer. Does not get. And that's even with the 2 card draws, had nothing. That second Azure Drake locks us down. I know I have it, and I'm just going to say, well played. Alright, you know, I was like, look, I know it's over, you know it's over. But no, he goes to rope me. I don't blame you, I understand. I'd be salty as fuck too. It's alright. Just waiting patiently. Still waiting patiently. Still waiting patiently.
Well played.
At this point, I was like, alright, you're being a douche. I'm just going to spam it.
Well played.
He's being a petty little fuck. But it's okay. We've all been there, man. We've all been there. Alright. And being the super nice guy that I am, I'm only going to kill him for exact death. I'm not going to go for the overkill because, you know, I'm a nice guy. But that is the deck. It's super fun, guys. Super fun. So much fun. Alright, moving the camera back over to the left side now. Yep. So, that's the deck, guys. It's a lot of fun. I hope you guys really like it. Down in the description, there will be a link to the deck as well as the deck guide. So if you like the deck, please go over there, hit me an upvote. I'd really appreciate it. As well as, if you like these videos, like, subscribe, leave me some comments down below. Let me see some thumbs up on this shit, alright? You just want to write, wow, you're a dirty old man. Go right the fuck ahead, right? I'm a dirty old man, because you're pretty much right on that. So yeah, really do appreciate it. I love you guys. Thank you very much. So, from the bottom of my heart, the shift saying, stay safe, have fun, may our Jesus bless you, and all hail our Lord and Savior, Saron. Peace.